Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Joshua 3 to 11, Proverbs 10, and Psalm 77 in the 6 and start. And then Joshua rose early in the morning and set out from Shittim. And he came to Jordan, he and all the people of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. At the end of 3 days, the officers went through and commanded the people, as soon as you see the Ark of the Covenant, that's the Lord your God being carried in the low roof street. And then they shall set up from the place and follow them. Yet there shall be a distance between you. There are 72,000 cubits in length. They'll come near, and all that you may know the way you shall go. They did not pass this way before. Then Joshua said to the people, consecrate yourselves, so tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua said to the priest, take up the Ark of the Covenant, and pass on before the people. So they took up the Ark of the Covenant and went before the people. And the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you on the side of the water, that they may know that as I was with them, so I will be with you. As you command the priests who bear the Ark of the Covenant, and come to the brink of the woods of the Jordan, who shall stand still in the Jordan. Then Joshua said to the people, Israel, come here and listen to the words of the living God, the Lord your God. And Joshua said, here is how you shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, and Jews says, behold, the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of all the earth, passing over before you into the Jordan. And therefore take 12 men from the tribes of Israel, and from each tribe men, and the souls of the priests bearing the Ark of the Lord of all the earth shall rest in the waters of the Jordan. And the waters of the Jordan shall be cut off from flying. The waters coming down from above shall stand in one heap. So the people went from the tents to pass over the Jordan with the priests bearing the Ark of the Covenant. And the whole people, and as soon as those bearing the Ark had come to follow John, the hood of the priest bearing the Ark was dipped in the brink of the water. The water was coming down from above stood and rose up in the heap very far away, and the city that's beside Zeth, and those running down toward the city of the Arab and Salt Sea were completely covered. And the people passed over opposite Jericho. And the priest bearing the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stood firm on Jericho in the midst of the Jordan. And the Lord was always passing over on Jericho until all the nation was passing over the Jordan. And the nation had finished passing over the Jordan. And the Lord said to Joshua, take 12 men from the people from each tribe and command them, saying, take 12 stones from here out of the midst of the Jordan, and the very place where the priest stood firm, and bring them over with him and lay them down in the place where it was tonight. And Joshua called the 12 men from the people which he hit upon a man from each tribe. And Joshua said to them, pass on before the Ark of the Lord the God into the midst of the Jordan, and take up each of you a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of tribes of people. This may be a sign among you. And then their children ask when time to come, what do those stones mean to you? And they shall tell them that the waters of the Jordan will cut off before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. When they pass over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan will cut off. So these things shall be to people Israel no more forever. And the people of Israel did just as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of the Jordan, according to the number of the tribes of people Israel. This is the Lord told Joshua, and they carried them over with them to the place where they lodged and laid them down. And Joshua set up 12 stones in the midst of the Jordan, in the place where the priest bearing the Ark of the Covenant stood. They are there to this day. The priest bearing the Ark stood in the midst of the Jordan until everything was finished. The Lord commanded Joshua to tell the people, according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. The people passed over in haste, and all the people had finished passing over. The Ark of the Lord and the priest passed over before the people. The sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half-tribe Manasseh also out before the people, as Moses had told them. About 40,000 brave four passed over before the Lord to bow to the plains of Jericho. On that day the Lord exalted Joshua and son of Israel. They stood in awe of him, just as they stood in awe of Moses all the days of his life. And the Lord said to Joshua, command the priest bearing the Ark of the Testament to come up out of the Jordan. And so Joshua commanded the priest to come up out of the Jordan. When the priest bearing the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord came out from the midst of the Jordan, the soles of the priest's feet were lifted up in Jericho. The waters of the Jordan returned to the place and overflowed the banks as before. And people came up out of the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, and they encamped at Gilgal on the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of the Jordan, Joshua set up at Gilgal. And he said to people, and your children ask their fathers in times to come, what do those stones mean? And when you shall let the children know, so pass over the Jordan on Jericho. And the Lord God dried up the waters of the Jordan for you until you passed over. So all the people who claimed their hand the Lord's money. You may fear the Lord your God forever. As soon as all the kings of Amorites who were beyond the Jordan to the west, and all the kings who came out to the sea, heard that the Lord dried up the waters of the Jordan for the people Israel until they crossed over, their hearts melted, and there was no longer any spirit in them. As the people Israel. At that time the Lord said to Joshua, make flint knives to circumcise the sons of Israel circumcised. So Joshua made flint knives and circumcised the sons of Israel in the year of Haraboth. And this is the reason why Joshua circumcised all the males of the people who came out of Egypt, all the men of war, and died in the wilderness, and the way after they come out of Egypt. Though all the people who came out had been circumcised, all the people who were born in the way in the wilderness after they come out of Egypt had not been circumcised. The people of Israel wore 40 years in the wilderness, until all the nation, the men of war came out of Egypt perish. They said, do not obey the voice of the Lord. The Lord swore to him that he would not bring them to O land that the Lord swore to us to give to us. Man fell with milk and honey, so was their child. And we were raised up in that place, so that Joshua was circumcised. And they were uncircumcised, because they had not been circumcised in the way. And the circumcision of the whole nation was finished. They remained in their places in the camp until they were healed. And the Lord said to Joshua, today I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from me. So the name of that place is called Gilgal to this day. All the people of Israel encamped at Gilgal. They kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month, and they ate on the place of Jericho. And the day after the Passover on the very day, they ate of the produce of the land, and lived in caves and pots of grain. And the 9 days a day after they ate of the produce of the land. And there was longer manna for the people of Israel, but they ate of the fruit of the land came that year. And Joshua was by Jericho, and was possessed, and behold, a man was standing before him with his drawn sword and said, and Joshua went to him and said to my voice before the blessed. He said, no, but I am the commander, I am the Lord. Now I have come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and worshipped and said to him, let my Lord say to his servant, the commander of the Lord's army said to Joshua, take off your sandals and your feet, and the place where you were standing is holy. And Joshua did so. And Jericho was shut up inside and outside because the people were there. None went out and none came in. And the Lord said to Joshua, see, I have given Jericho into your hand, with king by the men of valor. And you shall march around the city, all no men of war go around the city. And this shall do for 6 days. 7 priests and shall bear 7 trumpets and ram's horns before the ark. And 7 days shall march around the city 7 times. And the priests shall blow the trumpets, and when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, they shall hear the sound of the trumpet. And all people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the sea will fall on fire, and the people shall go up, and everyone straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said to take the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets and ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said to the people, therefore, march around the city, and let the army pass on before the ark of the Lord. And just as Joshua commanded the people, the 7 priests playing 7 trumpets and ram's horns before the Lord went forth, blowing the trumpets with the ark of the covenant. And the Lord following them, our men were walking before the priests were blowing the trumpets. And the rear guard was walking up to the ark, and all the trumpets blew continually. And Joshua commanded the people, you shall not shout, make a voice, and there shall any word go out of your mouth until the day I tell you to shout. And they shall shout, and he shall call the ark of the Lord to circle the sea, going about at once. And they came to the camp and spent the night in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. And the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets, and also one was before the ark of the Lord walked on. And blew the trumpets continually. And our men were walking before them, and the red guard was walking after the ark of the Lord. Now the trumpets blew continually on the second day, and marched around the city once, and returned into the camp. So they did for 6 days. On the 7th day they rose early, at the dawn of the day, and marched around the city in the same manner 7 times. And it was only on that day that they marched around the city 7 times. And the 7th time, when the priests blew the trumpets, Joshua said to the people, shout, for the Lord is coming to the city. And the city and all those within it shall be devoted to the Lord for destruction. And the Rahab the prostitute and all who are within her house shall live. And she hid the messengers whom they said, hey, you keep yourself from the things devoted to destruction, lest when you have devoted them, they take any of the devoted things, and make the camp Israel a thing of food destruction, bring trouble upon it. But also when God, every vestal bronze and are holy to the Lord, they shall go into the treasury of the Lord. The people shouting the trumpets were blown. And as soon as the people had the trumpet, the people shouted a great shout, and the wall fell down far. And so that the people went up into the sea, and made straight before them. And they go to the sea, and they devoted all their food to destruction, with men, young and old. After the sheep noticed that it was two men who spied from them. And so they go into the prostitute's house and bring out from there all the women and all who belonged with her. And so her saw to her, so the young men who had been spied went in and brought out Rahab and her father and their brothers and all who belonged to her. And they brought all of relatives, but that side became busy. And by the sea with fire, and they put everything in. And they still in the rest of the bronze, and they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Rahab the prostitute in her father's house, and all who belonged to her. And Joshua saved her. And she is lived in Israel to this day, because he hid the messengers whom Joshua sent to spy at Jericho. And Joshua laid night, and the night of time said, First before the Lord be the man who rises and rebuilds the city of Jericho. At the cost of his foundation, firstborn shall he lay its foundation. At the cost of his youngest son shall he set up its gates. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was in all the land. And the people of Israel took faith in God to devote things. For Achan, son of Carmel, son of Zabdi, son of Zerah, the tribe of Judah, took some of the devoted things. And the Lord burned against the people of Israel. Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is near Beth-aven, to east of Bethel, and said to go up and spy the land. And the men went and spied out Ai. And they returned to Joshua and said to now all the people go up. Let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and attack Ai. They will make the whole people toil up there. And they flew, and about 3,000 men went up from there. And they fell before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai killed about 36 of their men and chased them before the gates of Ai Shechem, and struck them at the Tuesday. And the hearts of people not became wood. Joshua chose both about together before the ark and also went to him in the old Israel. And then they put dust in the heads, and Joshua said, Alas, look away, we brought the people out on the hill. So he gives into hands and might. And Joshua, so that we had been content to dwell. And the Lord God can I say when Israel's turned their head back before their enemies. They came as though they had happened to the land. You will hear it and will surround us and cover the land from the earth. What do you do for your great name? And the Lord said to Joshua, Get up, why have you fallen in the face? Israel has sinned, they have transgressed my covenant I commanded them. They have taken some of the devoted things, they have stolen wine and put them among their own belongings. Therefore the people Israel cannot stand before their enemies. They turn to their backs before their enemies, they become devoted for destruction. I will be with you in everyone, unless you destroy the devoted things from me. Get up, consecrate the people, say, consecrate yourselves no more. I said the Lord, the God is, they have devoted things to you, so you cannot stand before your enemies until you take away the devoted things from me. In the morning, therefore, you shall be brought near by your tribe. And the tribe that the Lord takes by lot shall come near by clan. And the clan that the Lord takes shall come near by household. And the household that the Lord takes shall come near man by man. And he who is taken with the devoted things shall be blessed by him all that he has, because his treasure has come of the Lord. And because he has done it, now registering on the interest. And Joshua wrote out in the morning and brought as on tribe by tribe. And the tribe of Judah was taken, he brought near the clans of Judah. And then the clan of the Zerahites was taken. He brought near the clan of the Zerahites man by man, and Zabdi was taken. He brought near his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah was taken. And Joshua said to Achan, my son, give glory to the Lord God of Israel, and give praise to him. Tell me now what you have done. And don't hide it from me. And Achan answered Joshua, truly I think this Lord God of Israel. And this is what it did. And this was among the spoil of beautiful clay from Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver, and a bar of gold weighing 50 shekels. They compared them into the sea they hid in the earth inside my tent with silver underneath. And then Joshua sent messengers, they ran to the tent. And behold, it was hidden in his tent with silver underneath. And they took them out of the tent, and they brought them to Joshua and to all the people of Israel, and they laid them down before the Lord. And Joshua and all Israel took them with him, took Achan the son of Zerah, and so were the cook and the bar God, his sons, his daughters, his oxen, his donkeys, and sheep, and his son, and all they had, and he brought them up to the equal. And Joshua said, Why do you bring trouble on us? Why bring trouble on us today? And all Israel stood with stones. And they burned the fire and stone with stones. They stood from a great heap of stones that remains to this day. And the Lord took them for his banner, therefore to this day the name of the place is called the Valley of Achor. And the Lord said to Joshua, Do not fear and be dismayed. And take all the fighting men with him, right up to Ai. See, I have given to your hand the king of Ai and his people, and city and its land. And you shall do to Ai and do and its king as you do to Jericho and its king. And their spoils shall take his plunder for yourselves. And they ambush against the city behind it. So Joshua and all the fighting men arose to go up to Ai, and Joshua chose 30,000 mighty men of valor, and set them out by night, and said, Command them, Behold, you shall lie in ambush against the sea behind it, do not go very far from the sea, but all of you remain ready. I and all the people with me who will approach the sea. And when they come out against us just before, we shall flee before them. They will come out against us, just we have drawn away from the sea. And they will say, They are fleeing from us just as before, so we will flee before them. And you shall rise up from the ambush, seize the city. And the Lord your God will give it into your hand. And as soon as you have taken the city, you shall set the sea on fire. Shall do according to the word of the Lord, to their commandment. So Joshua sent them out. And they went to the place to ambush and lay between Beth and Ai, to the west of Ai. But Joshua spent that night among the people. Joshua rose early in the morning, and mustered the people, and went out. And there was Israel, all the people to Ai. And all the fighting men who were with him went up and drew near before the city, and camped on the north side of Ai, with the ravine between them and Ai. And he took about 5,000 men, and set them in ambush between Beth and Ai, to the west of the city. So they stationed the horses and made encampment. And there was north of the city, very God west of the city. So Joshua spent that night in the valley. And as soon as the king asked all his hidden all the people of the men of the city, hurried and went out early to the appointed place, toward the hour about to meet Israel and Baal. He did not know there was an ambush against him behind the city. Joshua also pretended to be beaten before them. And then fighting the direction that was, so all the people in the city were called together. As they pursued Joshua, they drove away from the sea. No man was left in Ai or Bethel. And they did not go after Israel. They had the city open pursued Israel. And the Lord said to Joshua, Stretch out the javelin as they no hand toward Ai. I'll give it into your hand. So Joshua stretched out the javelin that was in his hand toward the sea. The men ambushed rose quickly out of the place. And as soon as he had stretched out his hand, they ran into the city and captured it. They hurried to set the city on fire. And the men at Ai, looking back, behold, the smoke of the city went up to heaven, and they had no power to flee this way or that. And the people fled to the wilderness, had turned back against the pursuers. And Joshua and all Israel saw the ambushers trapped in the sea. As smoke of the sea went up, the men turned back and struck down the men of Ai. And those came out from the sea against them, so that they were in the midst of Israel. Some of the side, some of that side, Israel struck them down, until those left none that survived to escape. And the king of Ai they took alive, and they brought them near to Joshua, and they finished killing all the Hampshire and the open ones. Then they pursued them, and all of them were very lost and formed by the edge of the store, or returned to struck them down with the edge of the store. And all we found that day, both men and women, were 12,000, all the people of and Joshua did not draw back his hand with which to stretch out the outline until he divided all the inhabitants out to destruction. And he was all I struck and spoil, of that city Israel took a step under. According to what the Lord they commanded Joshua, so Joshua bent Ai, and they made it forever Hebrew as it is to this day. And he hanged the king of Ai on the tree until he had passed. Sunday Joshua commanded, take his body down from the tree and threw out the entrance of the gate of the sea and raised over it a great heap of stones, which stands there to this day. At the time Joshua built an altar to the Lord God of Israel, Mount Ebal, just as Moses, the son of the Lord, commanded people Israel. And as he read in the book of the Lord, Moses, an altar of uncut stones, upon which no man had built unto it, therefore a burnt offering to the Lord. So I cast it something there in the presence of the people Israel. You understand the copy of the Lord, Moses, from here. And all Joshua did as well as native law, that was the nostrils and those on the opposite side. Upon the way to carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord. Half them in fair Mount Gazan, half them in Mount Abel. And as Moses, the son of the Lord, commanded first to bless the people Israel. After he read all the words of the Lord, the blessing of God according to all that they were in the book of the Lord. There is not a word of all that Moses commanded that Joshua did not weep for the assembly of Israel, and the women and little ones, and sojourners who lived among them. As soon as all the kings who were beyond the Jordan in the hill country and the lower land all along the coast of the great sea toward Lebanon, the Hittites, Amorites, and Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, heard of us, they gathered together to fight against Joshua and Israel. The inhabitants of Gibeon heard what they had done to whom Jericho and Ai. They on their part acted with cunning and went out and made ready provisions and took worn out sacks and donkeys and wineskins, worn out and torn and mended, with worn out patched sandals on their feet and worn out clothes, and all their provisions were dry and crumbly. And when Joshua and the camp Gilgal and said to the men of Israel, we have come from a distant country, and now make a covenant with us. So the men of Israel said to him, perhaps you live among us, then how can we make a covenant with you? And they said to Joshua, we are your servants. And Joshua said to them, wait, and where do you come from? They said to him, from a very distant country your servants have come. Because in the name of the Lord, your God, we have heard a report of him, and all they did to kings of Amorites who were beyond the Jordan. Sihon the king of Heshbon, Og the king of Bashan, and lived in Ashtar, so our elders and all the inhabitants of the country said to us, take provisions in your hand for the journey and go to meet them and say to them, we are your servants, come now and make a covenant with us. Here's our bread. It was still warm when we took it from our house to set our food for the journey on the day we set out to come to. But now, behold, it is dry and crumbling. Its one twin was windy when he felt it, but behold, it burst. And these garments and sandals of ours were worn out from the very long journey. So the men took some of the provisions and did not ask counsel from the Lord. And Joshua made peace with them and made a covenant with them, and to let them live, and laid the congregation's water. At the end of 3 days, God made a covenant with them. They heard that they were their neighbors, and they lived among them. And the people of Israel they said on the third day, and the cities were Gibeon, Shepherah, Beeroth, and Kirjaim. Now the people of Israel did not attack them, because the leaders of the congregation was wanted by the Lord. And all the congregation murmured against the leaders, but the elders said to all the congregation, they was wanted by the Lord. The God of Israel, now we may not trust them, this will do so. Let them live, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath they swore to. And the leaders said to him, let them live. So they became close to wind, so rose water for all the congregation. The leaders said to them, and Joshua summoned them and said to them, why do you deceive us, saying, we are very far from you, and really dwell amongst us, and therefore you curse, and some of you will know. There shall never be anything but servant because of wind, so rose water, for the house of my God. And because it was told to your servant, for it says here that the Lord your God commanded him, and servant meant to give all the land, and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you, so you fear greatly in our eyes, because you did this thing. Now behold, we are in your land. Whatever seems good right your sight to do to us, do it. So he did this to them to live them out of the Hebrews and did not kill them. And Joshua made them that day because of wind and jars of water, and the congregation of the altar. And to this day, in the place he should choose. As soon as Adonai said, King of Judah, head out Joshua and captured out and divided it to destruction. Then God and his king as he had done to Jericho, and his king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon. And made haste with Israel, they feared greatly, and because of Gibeon with the great sin, like one of the road cities, and because it was great at night, and all those men were warriors. So Adonai said, there, king of Jerusalem, sent Hollow, him, king of Haman, to Param, king of Jarmuth, and Jephthah, king of Lachish, and to Beer, king of Eglon, saying, come up to me and help me, and let us strike him. For he has made peace with Joshua and with the people of Israel. And then the 5 kings of Ammon, the king of Jerusalem, and the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and King Eglon gathered their forces and went out with all their armies and came against Gibeon. And more against stayed. The men of Gibeon sent to Joshua and came back to Gilgal and said, do not lack to have good servants, come to us quickly, and save us and help us. So all the kings of Ammon stood on the hand country and gathered against us. So Joshua went out from Gilgal. All the people the war with them. And all the mighty men have found, and the Lord said to Joshua, do obey them, and I have given them into your hand. And many of them shall stay before us. And Joshua came on them some day to having marched them all night from Gilgal, and the Lord threw them into a panic before Israel, and struck them with a knife. And a great blow had been tasted by the way at Asset at Bethel, and struck them as far as Makkedah, and they fled before Israel. As they were going down the Asset at Bethel, the Lord threw down large stones from heaven on them as far as and they died. There were more who died because the house of the sons of Israel killed with the sword. At that time Joshua spake to the Lord, and the Lord gave Amorites over to the sons of Israel. He said to the sons of Israel, the sun set, so Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Arjun. And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. This is not written in the book of Joshua. And the sun stopped in the midst of heaven, and did not hurry to set out about for a whole day. There has been no day like it before us. And said, the Lord hear the words of men, and the Lord fought for Israel. So Joshua returned all the with him to camp at Gilgal. These 5 kings fled and hid themselves in the cave of Makkedah. And he told Joshua, the 5 kings have been found hidden in the cave of Makkedah. And Joshua said, we will find large cities in the mouth of the cave and set men by it to guard them. Then do not stay there yourselves, pursue your enemies, attack their rear guard, do not let them enter their cities. But the Lord that your God is give them into your hand. And Joshua and all the sons of Israel finished striking them with a great blow, until they were wiped out. And the remnant had remained in them and entered the fortified cities. And the people returned safe to Joshua and came at Makkedah. Now a man moved his tongue against the people as and Joshua set over the mouth of the cave, and when those 5 kings entered me from the cave, and they did so, and brought those 5 kings out to him from the cave. The king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and all the king of They brought those kings unto Joshua. Joshua summoned all the men and said to the chiefs of men of war who had gone with them, come near, put your field near next to these kings. They came near and put their field near next, and Joshua said to them, do not be afraid and dismay. Be strong and courageous, for thus the Lord will do to all your enemies against whom you fight. And after Joshua struck them and put them to death, they hanged them on large 5 trees. And on the trees until even at the time of going down the sun. And they took them down from the trees and threw them into the cave, but they had hidden themselves. And set large stones above the mouth of the cave, which remains to this very day. As for Makkedah, Joshua captured on that day and struck it, and into the king with the edge of the sword. He devoted it to destruction every person, he left no and he did to King of Makkedah. And he had done to King of Jericho, and Joshua made Israel with him passed on from Makkedah to Libnah, and fought against Libnah. And the Lord gave Judges king into hand Israel, and he took with the edge of the sword, and every person, and he left no remaining, and he did to the king as he had done to King of Jericho. And Joshua and all Israel with him passed on from Libnah to Lachish, and they ceased to fought against him. And the Lord they gave Lachish no hand Israel, and captured on the 2nd day, and struck with the edge of the sword. Every person that he had done to Libnah. And Horeb king Gaza came him to help Lachish. And Joshua struck him his people until he left no remaining. And Joshua and Israel with him passed out from Lachish to Eglon. And they laid siege to him 4 against it, and captured on that day, and struck it with the edge of the sword, and devoted every person and to destruction on that day, as he had done to Lachish. And Joshua and Israel with him went out from Eglon to Hebron, and they fought against it, and captured and struck with the edge of the sword, and the king of his towns, and every person and he left no remaining. As he was in the Eglon, and devoted it to destruction every person there. And Joshua and Israel with him turned back from Gibeah and fought against it, and captured it with the king of all his towns. They struck with the edge of the sword, and devoted themselves to destruction every person in it. And left no remaining, just he had done to Hebron to live in his king. So he did to Gibeah into its king. And Joshua struck the whole land, and hill country and Negev, and slept in all the kings, and he left no remaining. And devoted to destruction all their bridges, just the Lord God of Israel commanded. And then Joshua struck them from Kadesh Barnea as far as Gaza, and all the country of Goshen as far as Gibeon. And Joshua commanded all these things until the end of the land at one time. And because the Lord their God had over Israel fought for Israel, and Joshua returned all Israel with him to the camp at Gilgal. And Jeroboam king of Hadel heard of this. And Jeroboam king of Maddah, and to the king of Shimron, to the king of Akshah, and to the kings who lived in another hill country, in the Arabah south of Shinar, and the lowland, and Naphtali on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and the west, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, and the besides the hill country. And the Hivites under him and land Mizpah, and they came with all their troops a great hill, and a number like a sand that on the seashore, and 3 men on horses and chariots. And all these kings joined their forces and came together at the waters of around to fight against Israel. And the Lord said to Joshua, do not be afraid of them, for tomorrow this time I'll give over all them slain to Israel. You shall hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire. So Joshua and all his warriors came suddenly against them by the waters of Meribah and fell upon them. And the Lord gave them into hand of Israel, who struck them chasing us over at sea, and made a fourth man, and the east was far the Mizpah. And he struck them until he left no remaining. And Joshua did so as the Lord said to him. He hamstrung their horse and burned their chariots with fire. And Joshua turned back at the time and captured Hazor and struck its king with the sword. And Hazor formerly was the head of all those kingdoms. And he struck with the sword all who in it, to burn them to Israel, and there was none left that breathed. And he burned Hazor with fire, and all the cities of those kings and all their kings Joshua captured, and struck them with the edge of the sword, to burn them to destruction. And this is Moses the servant of the Lord commanded. And none of the cities of strong men to Israel burned, except Hazor and Joshua burned, and all the spoil of these cities and livestock people Israel took for their plunder. Every person they struck with the edge of the sword, until they destroyed them, they did not leave any breath. Just the Lord commanded Moses, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. There's nothing undone with the Lord's commandments. The just took all the land, they held control of the land, both the land, Goshen, all the land, and the Arab and the hill country is Israel's land from Mount Halak, which rise towards sea. As far as Balgad and Battle Lebanon to Battle Mount Hanai. In case of all the kings of Shechem since the death, Israel made war a long time with all those kings. There was no sea that made peace with the people there, except he advised the inhabitants of Gibeon. They took them all in battle, for it was the Lord's doing to harden in their hearts that they should come in Israel about, in order that they should be devoted to destruction and receive no mercy, but be destroyed to slow commandments. And she came at that time and cut off the enemy came from the hill country, and he brought from Debir from Anab, and all the hill country Judah, and all the hill country Israel. The shepherds devoted them to Shechem their seeds. There was none that Anakim left in the land against people was only in Gaza and Gath, and a national dishonor made. So Joshua took the whole land according to what the Lord spake to Moses. And Joshua gave 300 to Israel according to travel allotments, and the land had rest from war. Proverbs 10. The Proverbs of Solomon, why so makes a glad father, but Solomon is sorrow to his mouth, so he came back within the steer of righteousness and lives from death. The Lord is known, the righteous go hungry, he throws a curtain of the wicked. Stack hand goes of poverty, the hand of diligent makes rich, 80,000 sons of priests. He sleeps in poverty, son of big shame. He still in the head of the righteous, but mouth the wicked considers violence. The only the righteous is blessed, and never the wicked will rot, and the wise heart will receive commandments, and Babylon fool will come to her. And whoever walks in charity will secure him whose ways will be found out. Whoever walks in echoes shall will bad fool come to her, and mouth the righteous. And it's found her life, and the mouth of the wicked considers violence. He who stirs is right for the love, cause all offense on the lips of him, not understanding, wisdom is found. Who rods for the back of him like sense, a wise lamb knows, but the mouth of fools is really near. Who returns wealth is strong city, probably pours everyone. The rich of righteous release life, and the gain of wicked sin. Whoever he rejects is on the path of life, he rejects will bring his own astray. No one considers hatred lying lips. And whoever understands will, when word to many transgressions not lacking. Whoever restrains the lips is prayer. And the tongue of the righteous choice over. The heart of the wicked on the lower. The lips of the righteous feet may force die for lack of sins. And the blessing of the Lord makes rich. He dies in his soul, doing most like a truthful. There is no pleasure to a man and saying, well, the wicked judge will come upon him, and desire the righteous will be gained. And tempest past the wicked stand the righteous is established forever, like vinegar 2 teeth to make the eyes, and establish to descend them. And the fear of the Lord comes on his life. And the years of the wicked will be short, the hope of the righteous will be short, and the expectation of the wicked will perish. When the way of the Lord is stronghold to blame, so destruction evil, the righteous will never be angry, the wicked will not dwell in the light. Mouth of the righteous speaks with words, and perverse tongue will be found, for the lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, the mouth of the wicked is perverse. Psalm 76, in Judah God's name. His name is great, his abode has been established in Salem. He dwells in his Zion, they break the flashing arrows, the shield, the sword, and the weapons of war. Glorious are you more majestic than mountains full of prey. The stout heart will strip to their sword, the strength to slay all the men of war. Unable to use their hands, they will be food, you can both ride and horse laced on. You want to be free from stem for you. And when once your anger is roused, with the end of heaven is your own judgment. That fear was stilled, and God rose to establish and stable and humble the earth. Still in the wrath of man shall praise, and the realm thereof we will put on like a bell. Make a vast Lord God before them, let all around them bring gifts to him who is to be feared. He cuts the spirit of princes to be feared by the kings of the earth. Now astonishing that the Lord's prayer who heads, Father, hallelujah, and we can come who done the Thursday in heaven. You stay a day, but give us debtors, forget our debtors, lead us not to take us into the sin of one. Lead us a kingdom, power, and good forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.